All right, we are ready, Ms. Spence. You're on mute. You're on mute, Ms. Spence.
Okay, I was saying sorry. I was trying to see if Miss Hardy was coming because I saw her child. Okay. Greetings all and welcome to our Dobbs Elementary Go Team meeting. On December 6th, 2023. We'll follow this agenda as has been publicly noted and emailed to you. I would like to remind everyone that this is a meeting of the Go Team. Only members of the Go Team may participate in the discussion. Any members of the public present here are to quietly observe. For members of the Go Team, please identify yourself when you speak. And I am pleased to call this meeting of Dobbs Go Team to order at 4:11 p.m. Our first order of business is to call roll. The secretary will now take the roll. Please respond present when your name is called.
I am Sonia Yarber, your secretary. If you will please answer when I call your name. Tiffany Reagan.
Present.
Brianna Spence.
Present.
Bernadine Connor.
Sorry, present.
Santana Hardy. Alexis Opodole. Erica Hopkins.
Present.
Present.
This is Alexis.
Thank you. Hey, Mom.
Hey.
Thank you. Present. All right. Miss Cindy Adams. Jeremy Crane.
Present.
And Jennifer James. We now have a quorum.
Very good. Thank you, Ms. Yarbrough. So our first order of business is to approve the agenda that has been provided to you. Are there any changes that need to be made to the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda that has been publicly posted and disseminated to Go Team.
Second, please.
I second the motion.
All in favor say aye or raise your hand, please. You got it, Ms. Yarbrough? All opposed say nay or raise your hand. Sorry, they were making an announcement. Any abstentions? Okay, great. The agenda has been approved. Now we will review and approve the meeting minutes from our last meeting. The minutes have also been made available to you. Are there any corrections? Okay, may I have a motion to approve the previous meeting's minutes?
Motion to approve the previous meeting's minutes.
A second?
I second that approval.
All in favor say aye or raise your hand. All opposed say nay or raise your hand. Any abstentions? Please say abstain. All right, seems as though the previous meeting's minutes have been approved. Now we don't have any additional action items.
Yes, Ms. Spence, we need to rank our priorities. It's C.
C, okay. I'm
Yes.
sorry, I was looking at the wrong one. Rank our priorities, okay. Does that mean we need to go to Miss Reagan, you have a presentation?
So I'm going to start in the middle of my presentation because I have the SIP first, but I'm going to flow with the agenda. So if you all give me a second and let me share my screen. Let's see if I can go back. Let me see. Do you all see my screen that says strategic plan, SMART goals?
Yep.
Awesome. So we'll start here as a recap. Good afternoon, everyone, again. But as a recap, at the last Go Team meeting, we talked about some of our SMART goals, which I will review again, and some of our priorities. And then we talked about the rankings, and today you will be talking about the order in which you think they would need to go. These are our priorities: to increase literacy proficiency, math and numeracy proficiency, increase the daily average attendance, increase STEM integration across all grade levels. And our SMART goals, in which we aligned for the strategic plan: the percentage of students in grades 3 through 5 scoring proficient or above in ELA will increase from 12 to 17%, and our beginning areas will decrease from 58 to 53. And that's on the 2024 GMAS. The percentage of students in grades 3 through 5 scoring proficient and above in math will increase from 10 to 15 and decrease our beginning from 61 to 56. And then we will increase to 94% for attendance during the school year. This is a copy of what we talked about last week. This is the same. These are the strategic priorities that I read. Can you all see my mouse? Okay, so these are the strategic priorities that I just read. And with each priority, this is a district initiatives over here. Here we have our strategic priorities, and this is what I just read to you all. These have been broken down based on the STAP, which is our short-term action plan, which was developed from our SIP. After we rank the priorities, I will give you just a quick overview from our continuous improvement plan, which is our SIP, on how we derived at these specifics, what we are actually implementing now at Dobbs. So what you see here, where it says increase proficiency and literacy in math, the priorities, well, Dr. Battle, our current interim superintendent, has made it very clear that our main focus in APS is to increase literacy proficiency. So what we are doing, our strategies are, we have them in areas 1A. I don't know how this changed from the C, D, and E, but I apologize. I will make sure that says C, D, and E. I don't know how I got 3 Bs on there, but the information is right. Monitor delivery of Tier 1 instruction to include Rollins. I actually went to a Rollins school today in Marietta and got some great information. So we'll be sharing that with the staff. Monitor the data analysis weekly and monthly. This is from the teachers. Monitoring the delivery of small group instruction in the classes. Utilize small group instruction to provide individualized instruction. With our attendance rate, this is what we voted on last year's Go Team, so we may want to change it. I'm not sure, but we did that because if the kids aren't here, it's very hard to meet the goals that we create, because we do need kids present in order to move any data, especially proficiency. And when you see progressions of lessons, if students are absent, they're missing something, and then we're missing instruction. And so that's been a really big focus, and we've done pretty well with that. So one of the strategies are here: to track the students' absences, monitor the reduction of chronically absent students, as evidenced by our care team, implement attendance incentive programs. And we have trackers now that we are just getting a caseload of the highest absent students that are chronically absent, and focusing on that small group to help move the data. And that has been working, and we are incentivizing attendance as well with different activities, field trips, and the like. We actually have an attendance celebration coming up. increase the staff capacity in literacy instruction. So because we have Rollins, there are some new strategies that teachers have to attain in addition to a set of new teachers. So we want to make sure that their capacity to understand the content is there. And so we have been working with the DOE and Metro RESA to monitor the collaborative planning process that the teachers have to analyze the standards and data. That's been really a lot of hard work for our teachers, but I think it is paying off. But in order to make sure the instruction is well, what they need, the teachers need to have what they need in order to deliver that. The fourth one, increasing the data analysis for instructional decision-making, having staff engagement in weekly data meetings and implementing weekly and unit common assessments to address gaps and standards. The reason that we have weekly and unit common assessments is because we cannot wait until GMAS to determine what's wrong. So in layman's term, you could think about a doctor's visit. You can't wait until you are 50 to go to the doctor. You have to have some things along the way, some checks along the way. You have to go to your primary care doctor every year to get some checks and assessments or whatever. But if you see some things happening, even at those checks, your doctor, your specialist or doctor may have you come in a little bit more. And so that's why we have our weekly and unit common assessments, so that we can kind of get some things done. So by the time we turn 50, so to speak, and I'm comparing that with GMAS, then we won't get to age 50 and we don't have what we need. So we have to have the checks along the way. And in order to monitor or measure the data, we have to have common assessments. If everybody has something different, it's hard to measure. So we've moved to not just having the unit common assessments at the end of the unit, but having the teams create some weekly common assessments so we can compare what's happening. So if, for instance, Ms. Spence is on first grade with Dr. Connor, if Ms. Spence has all great grades and she's doing something well, we want to make sure that Ms. Spence is sharing her strategies with everybody else, because they're teaching the same thing and the same standards from Georgia. So that's why we have that. And lastly, we are a STEM school. Each school was to have a signature program, and ours is STEM, and that's science, technology, engineering, and math. And we are implementing that because we're so literacy focused now. We want to make sure we're implementing that and utilizing the STEM learning profiles across the content areas. And I will say, I did go to a Rollins school today, and they did not have an explicit science and social studies block. What they did have was text about push and pull, which is science, or something about social studies, but they were talking about all of the reading strategies in those texts, pulling out all of the reading standards and all of that. So regardless of whether they were talking about social studies or reading about social studies or reading about science, they were still talking about the strategies from reading, the compare and contrast, the cause and effect, the main idea, all of the things we teach in reading, we can still teach the content. So that's why we have that there. So this is the order, which I think is still a great order for this year, because again, like I stated, literacy is the basis to learn math, science, social studies, and everything else. And you all see it here. So I will let you all come off mute, have the floor, and give me your thoughts.
Ms. Reagan, first I have a question.
Yes.
So with attendance being number 2 and all of the great things that we put in place this year, that seems to be working. If we were to move that down, we would still keep those things in place, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So my idea or my thinking, because I'm a science person, and since we're in school, I just don't know. I don't know if I don't know if I'm doing enough. I'm gonna talk about me. I don't know if I'm doing enough to integrate STEM. Being a STEM school, I know that these PBLs, we're still struggling with trying to find time to plan for them and things of that nature. So I personally would like to switch 5 and 2, since 2 is working and we already have those plans in place. I just think we should give more focus to number 5, personally.
So your suggestion is to move, switch 5 and 2. Got it. Okay, anyone else?
This is Miss Yarbrough.
Yes.
I kind of agree with the moving the number 2, but I would maybe move 3 up. I would move 3. I would move 3 to 2. Yeah, I would move 3 to 2.
Do you have a reason? I'm just wondering, not that you have to, I'm just asking.
Because if we're trying to increase our proficiency in literacy in math, if that is our main focus, I think that increasing the staff capacity in literacy and math will go with that. Because the more teachers, the more they know and collaborative, and plan together, that will increase. So I see what she's saying about moving STEM up, but I don't know if I would move it up to 2. That's just my opinion.
So perhaps like move collaborative, the staff capacity to 2, and maybe attendance to, STEM to 3.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's just me.
Okay. And I guess to piggyback off this, Jeremy, I saw you come off mute. Did you have a comment?
I did not.
I
I
have,
did not.
Dr. Is that Dr. Coon?
yes,
Go ahead, Doc.
yes, I agree with Ms. Yarborough. I think that we should increase the capacity in our teachers for literacy instruction, because now the focus is on science of reading and structured literacy. And I think that would be help improve our literacy, and also literacy across the curriculum with in mathematics, science, and social studies as well. So I would say probably putting STEM as number 3 and putting and placing increased staff capacity in literacy instruction for number 2.
So I'm gonna go one further. I love all of the commentary. I think just to piggyback off of both ladies, but Ms. Yarbrough spoke last about the collaborative planning. In order to see what's working, I think we also need to keep the data up near the planning, because we won't see what we're doing if we don't monitor the data. So we're pushing, I think, keep the tier number 1, move collaborative planning up to 3. I think that's what y'all said. Staff capacity up. Data right behind that, STEM right behind that, and that will push attendance to the bottom. Because actually, Ms. Spence, to your point, we did increase our average daily attendance on last year. And so we are sustaining those things. So you are correct. We do need to put our efforts, I believe, what we have not quite mastered yet. So I like that. But I think with all the things that they were saying with 2 and 3, data is not in isolation, because the only way we're going to measure what we are doing, getting our primary care check visit, is to look at the data.
Yes.
Right.
Y'all, what y'all think about that?
Do we think the systems that we have in place now are working to do that?
So I think you were at the meeting when we had the staff meeting, when we just switched up for SAP 2. So we just started, recently taking the weekly assessments from everyone. We're just starting to, we're kind of winding down after Thanksgiving. Everybody's kind of a little in holiday mode, but we haven't really started to see the fruits of that just yet. And because also when we came back from Thanksgiving, we've been MAP testing for 2 weeks. So it's kind of really hard to, because a lot of people have done review standards. So I can't say that it's not working yet, because we just put STAP 2 in place right before the holiday before the Thanksgiving holiday. So we haven't, and coming back after holidays, like I said, we had MAP. So,
right, and we didn't score great in that data situation, right?
We still have, and I'm gonna get to that too. We had quite a few absent students, and we are still doing makeup. And so hopefully I'll have the data for all of that correct data for that. I know I will have some by the end of the week. It's just not ready for today because they told me they still had students that need to make up data, and I want to include all of that.
Oh, I was talking about that walkthrough data we went through Monday.
Walkthrough data. What walk? Are you talking about at a staff meeting?
From the state. So that's
Oh,
what, and that said that we still really need to work on that data analysis, right?
absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, great. That's fine.
Data tells the story of everything. Just like when you go to the doctor, you get on the scale. Like I know I've gained like 20 pounds. That's my data. That's telling me I need to do something different. So I'm just saying, if I didn't have that, then I would still be doing the same thing. And my data might be, my clothes size is changing. So my numbers are changing. So I need to put in some strategies or interventions. So we got to keep the data. Because go ahead, Ms. Yarbrough.
And I was about to say, because you're saying that the state said we still need the data analysis increase that, then that's why we have to move that up. We've
Yes.
got to move that up.
Yes.
And one thing that I think has been really powerful, and this is just FYI information for the Go team, I believe the staff is now starting to own their data a little bit more. Everybody's talking about their data more. The kids are talking about their data more versus just the leadership team saying, oh, we got this. But we're also trying to do a better job of communicating it as well. Hey, we got this in this particular area. We got this. This is what we need to work on. This is what we're doing well. So we're trying to do a better job of communicating it so that everybody knows what's happening. Like next staff meeting, I'll be telling, once everybody finishes the makeup, I'll be doing my stars just for the Go team and everybody for those teachers that got 50% of growth in or higher in math and reading. And so we'll be recognizing those. And then I also have a plan in place for those students those teachers who did not do that. And it's not a punitive thing, but it's so that we can support them so that they can. When we did that last year, put the plan in place, people grew. And so it really worked. And actually people actually enjoyed it to my surprise. Some people anyway. But anyway, that's it for that. Madam Chair, would you like for me to go on into the SIP part?
We have to.
Oh, we got to vote. Let me back up. Let me let you do your job.
Yes. Got to vote.
We have to. Okay, so we have had discussion around changing and moving. So let's kind of like recap that. We have talked about moving number 3 up to number 2. Stop me if I'm wrong. Number 4 up to number 3. Number 5 up to number 4.
Yes.
And 2 down to 5.
Correct.
Is there any more discussion around this? Any other suggestions? If not, may I have a motion to accept our changes to our strategic priorities?
Motion to accept modifications to our strategic plan.
A second?
I second it.
Ms. Yarbrough, do you want one by one, or can we all just raise our hand and go?
We can all raise our hand.
All right. All in favor, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Jordan raises his hand. All opposed, please say nay or raise your hand. Shh, away. Any abstentions? Any discussion? Very good. The motion has been passed. We will be switching up our priorities for the next year. All right, moving on to our discussion items. You needed something, Ms. Ray?
I'll let you finish. I apologize.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say we have our discussion items, and on our agenda, our discussion items are our SIP with Ms. Reagan.
I'm gonna stop share. Let me get my screen back together. Give me 1 second. We go back.
And I don't know why they call it a SIP because honestly, if I'm sounding it out, it's KIP or whatever.
I used to think the same thing. It's continuous improvement plan, but it used to be the school improvement plan. So I think they still use the school improvement plan acronym, but changed the words, and then they made the C a soft C, the SIP.
Well, that's not very phonetic.
It's not, but that's just SIP rating. Anyway, let me go through this. So here, this is we talked about our mission and vision from before. I'm not going to read that out loud. I'll leave it there for a couple of seconds, and you all can read that. So I'm just going to go through here. So let me state this. I'm going to kind of go backwards a little bit. What we just discussed was our strategic plan and the goals in there. The goals in the strategic plan came from the SIP. Does that make sense? Those were the SIPs. So I'm just going to tell you how we got there and the process. So the SIP was developed when we actually reviewed and analyzed the GMAS from 2023, which is in May. I'm going to share the board goals with you all so that you would know some AM data that the leadership team had. We completed some strengths and challenges protocol, just talked about some strengths of the school and weaknesses of the school. And then we do a needs assessment to see what we have. We did all of these things in conjunction with our representatives from the DOE, the Department of Education, and Metro RESA. And that's how we got the SMART goals that are in our STAP. So our STAP is our short-term action plan, which is also a part of our SIP, which is the continuous improvement plan. The SIP is very generic. The short-term action plan is very specific. And that's in alignment with the strategic plan that I just showed you, same stuff. But I'm going to still show it to you anyway. But before I do that, the APS board goals, in case you haven't seen them, each time they have a board meeting, this is what they're discussing. This is for the whole entire district. As you can see, goal number 1 is literacy proficiency. The percentage of, focusing on the percentage of students scoring proficient and above in reading. Numeracy proficiency, same proficiency for math. Post-graduation preparedness, this is mainly for high school. And college and career readiness, making sure that students are college and career ready and have the right career pathways with IB, AP classes, all of the things, dual enrollment and the like. So these are all the goals. So that's how we, you start, because you got to know what the big goal is to bring it down to the school goal. So, which brings us to DOT goals, which is the same thing in our SIP, the same thing in our short-term action plan, the same thing on our strategic priorities. Is all the same. So I don't want y'all to get confused with all the terminology. They're really one and the same. They just kind of packaged differently. So here we already stated, this is the same thing we just talked about, increasing our students in the proficiency, but this has the actual data for us, increasing proficiency from 12 to 17, and from 58 to 53, decreasing. For math, proficiency here, and decreasing the beginning level there. This is the whole child goal, which is, like we stated, with attendance, making sure that we have a 94% the average daily attendance rate and a CCRPI rate of 64%. So here is our actual STAP, which is developed from the SIP. This is more specific. I'll have to, some of this you may not understand, but I'll explain it. It's going from left to right. And these are our steps here. A lot of the same things you just saw on our strategic plan. Monitoring, tier 1 instruction. Here are the Department of Education indicators. We have a tool that we use. We actually had, I'm proud to say that when we started school, we had like 9 indicators. We've improved on 5 of those. We only now have 4. So we've gone from 9 to 4. And so that's what we're working on. Where the teachers must have a part in that. So when they're delivering instruction, we need 70% of the teachers scoring at evidence to see these observations, and the students, those monthly and weekly assessments that I discussed, we are monitoring those, and we want to see those as well. The collaborative planning piece is working with the DOE And that's the part where we're building the staff capacity here, making sure that they are in their grade level meetings and having the planning and making sure they score operational. We have a rubric from the DOE that we utilize, and 80% of the teachers should be scoring this on the rubric. We discussed this at a faculty meeting, so the teachers are very aware of what's happening. Also, with that, the students will score 70 or above, and this, again, we're checking for understanding weekly and on their common formative assessments. We're breaking some things down into small group instruction, which is also part of Tier 1 and could be part of an intervention for those students that need extra help. Looking at those strategies with the tool, the teachers have to score a yes and making sure that they have the evidence of the correct indicators of small group. And again, we're also going to continue looking at data monthly and weekly. That's for ELA. For math, we have a new framework because there's a new curriculum in the state of Georgia. We're monitoring that, but we're using a different tool. They have the framework for math instruction, and 70% will score a 3 on that framework. Again, we're looking for the students to do well on their monthly and weekly assessments. Building capacity again here for math. This is collaborative planning, making sure that they have those indicators that we have by the DOE. We're looking at standards analysis and data analysis. This is another tool that we have. We have to score operational. And again, we're going to utilize the data to see our success. I told you about we just talked about the priorities, and that was pretty much it. Do you all have any questions? I think did you want me to go on to my highlights, or you want to start with the cluster report? Ms. Spence.
With some of the principals report?
So I'm through with my principals report. This is my part of announcements. I just added it on the same slide, but I know we had another bullet before that.
You can go ahead.
Okay, so my principals report, just wanted to, I know we discussed at the last meeting about the data for MAP and Right Score. Winter MAP, like I stated earlier, is almost done. They let me know that there were students still absent and they needed the rest of the week to finish makeup. So we'll have that for our next meeting. Also, like I said, I was in Marietta today at a Rollins school. We're trying to get some extra strategies along with some of the members of the leadership team. And the Right Score information came today. So I have not even seen it. So I have to look at it. We have to analyze it, share it with the teachers and all of that. And that should be ready for January's meeting as well. Moving on to December highlights to make sure that we are doing all the things with school. We have a behavior field trip that took place. They went to the Skyhawks Museum basketball game on December 1st. And that's when they get the class dojo points in class. So teachers are collecting dojo points. And when they earn those, we're trying to do a better job of incentivizing behavior or behaviors in the classroom and the school. We have esports. We have an esports team. We have about 40 kids in our esports on our esports team. They had a great competition on December 4th. They have another one coming up on this Friday. We have our holiday program on December 12th parents are invited. It is also streamed live. It will be streamed live on our YouTube channel. December 12th is also Ms. Reagan's birthday, so it is a very special day on that day. And we also have Real Men Read and Reading Buddies on the 13th. We will have community men coming in to read to our students. And Morningside Presbyterian Church, which is a partner, will be there the other half of the day. So the top of the day, we'll have Real Men Read. The bottom half of the day, Reading Buddies will come in and work with some skills with our readers on December 13th. We also have an in-house attendance celebration. And like Ms. Spence stated, she said, we're still doing those things that are incentivizing attendance. Yes, we are. We have an exciting attendance celebration that is an in-house something coming in to celebrate those that have been at school on a regular basis. And we are celebrating inclusion this week for special education. So we have a lot of things that we are doing in the building for December. And it'll take us out to the 15th, and we'll be ready to go out for our holiday break. That is all for my December highlights and my principals.
Thank you so much, Ms. Reagan. Clustery Advisory Team Report from our cluster advisor member. Who is our cluster advisor member, Ms. Yarborough?
Ms. Hopkins. Miss Erica Hopkins.
She's on mute, though. She's on mute. Is she trying to talk?
I don't think so. Ms. Hopkins? I think she might be on another call. Ms. Yarborough, do we have anybody sign up for public comment?
Hopkins, I think she hears us now. Ms. Hopkins, do you have a report for cluster? Can she hear us? Ms. Yarborough, can you contact her while Ms. Smith moves on?
I was
Yes, I
just
will.
asking Ms. Yarborough if we had anybody to sign up for our public comment.
No, we did not.
Okay, well, that's it. We just waiting on that report. Ms.
I know.
Hopkins?
She comes in at the same time she's working. I do know that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, she's at
let,
work.
let me know if she answers, Ms. Yarborough.
Wait, don't turn your camera off. Talk to us.
And while she's waiting, I'm not sure if they've had any meetings, because I know some of the cluster meetings were rescheduled, so I'm not sure if they even met. Go ahead, Ms. Yarborough or Ms. Hopkins.
I don't have anything to say at this time.
Yeah, like I stated, they have, I believe they've rescheduled some of those meetings, if I'm not mistaken. And so they're waiting on a new date. And so, have you been getting those memos, Ms. Hopkins, about the rescheduling the
Yes.
date? Okay.
Yes,
I believe that's it. So, but thank you.
you're welcome.
Okie dokie, well, if that's it, I think our meeting is now adjourned at 4:47.
I motion to adjourn.
Second.
I second and third.
All in favor, say aye and raise your hand. All opposed, say nay or raise your hand. Any abstentions?
Thank you for
Meeting
calling.
adjourned. Thank you.
What time is Spence?
4:48.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Y'all have a good one and we'll see y'all in January.